Well, for more on this incredible rescue operation, let's bring in someone who knows firsthand all about this, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus. He's a former IDF spokesperson, very familiar face, served for 24 years in the IDF, now a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Colonel, welcome. It's good to see you in the studio, and thank you.
Great to be here.
For all the work that you did all those months after the October 7th attack as you defended Israel in the actions.
Thank you.
Your reaction to this great news of the hostages freed?
Tremendous joy and a sigh of collective national relief in Israel that 4 of our civilians have been rescued and that they're home safe with their families. Great moment for them, but still we're in a very complex situation where Israel is at war with at least 4 different Iranian proxies. And that war continues despite this happy event where we were able to successfully rescue hostages. And Israel is under fire. I just got a notification of incoming rockets in southern Israel, and half an hour ago there were incoming rockets in northern Israel. So the fighting continues. This is a great event. Hopefully we will see more of those, but Israel is at war, and the big strategic picture has not changed, even though this is a great event.
That, of course, the terrorists in Tehran, who are the mullahs who are mindful and who are the architect of all of this against Israel.
They are indeed, and I think one thing that isn't said enough, even in America, and not even by Israelis, is that if we zoom out for a second and if we think, where are we going to be in the next year or 5 years? The Iranians have a very clear plan, and they're very disciplined and they're very strategic and cunning. Their plan is to surround Israel with the ring of fire of terrorist organizations like Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, like the Houthis in Yemen, and to continue to maintain Israel in a constant state of fighting, to bleed Israel in terms of diplomatic capabilities, in terms of economy, and of course to keep us in a constant state of war, which serves Iranian purposes and doesn't serve Israeli purposes. My 2 cents are that as long as the Iranians are allowed to continue with this, and as long as nobody asks the Iranians tough questions, is it really worth it for you to continue to do what you're doing? They will continue to do so, and what that will mean is continued war in the Middle East and continued suffering of Israeli civilians and of others as well.
So while we have these joyous celebrations of the 4 who've been released, you see a continued constant pressure on Israel by Tehran?
Definitely, and I see the risk of regional conflict ever closer. Every day that goes by and there is not a diplomatic agreement reached between global powers and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hezbollah is the biggest and the most powerful Iranian proxy on earth with nation-state military capabilities. If such a deal isn't reached, then the other option is the military one. And for the war to end, Israeli civilians who are currently evacuated from their homes, 100,000 Israelis are refugees in their own country, and they've been so for 8 months. For that situation to change, Israel needs to make sure that it's safe for them to go home. Now, if there's no diplomatic agreement, the other option is to use force. To use force means that we are dangerously close to a regional war where Hezbollah can unleash tremendous amounts of firepower towards Israel, and of course Israel will defend itself and strike back at wherever Israeli civilians are threatened from. That could mean a real significant escalation, and I'm sorry to say I do not see enough urgency in the US and around the world to stop this from happening, and that is a threat.
Why do you think Israeli critics don't understand that or don't see it that way?
I think it's easy to look at small details and to count trucks of aid coming into Gaza and to deal with the fate of 10 or 15 Palestinians or whatever happens in Rafah. That's easy, it's good visuals, it bleeds and it leads, and you see it on the news and people are focused on that. But I think the big strategic picture is Tehran, and in a closer perspective, it is what's going on, the decisions being made in Beirut, in Lebanon, by Hezbollah officials who are currently really bringing us, the region, Lebanon and Israel, to the cusp of a war. And I think that people need to be cognizant of that. The fact that they aren't, I think, misunderstanding of not reading the map correctly in the Middle East and not understanding what really is at stake. Hamas is a small enemy compared to Hezbollah. Hezbollah has 5 times more firepower, and if that is unleashed at Israel, of course the consequences in Lebanon will be totally different.
What would you like to see from the Biden administration?
I would like to see from all democracies and from our most important and steadfast ally, the United States of America, I would like to see strong support for a democracy at war, threatened by a theocratic regime that is using terror organizations and the most vile tactics in the world, using humanitarian shields, targeting our civilians. I would think that what Israel deserves is wall-to-wall support from all democracies, of course, led by the US. And as an Israeli, I am very appreciative and thankful for the support that Israel has been given so far. And I am confident that it will continue, because good, reasonable thought will prevail. And I'm confident that Israel will continue to have the unlimited support of the US. Whatever politics, whatever happens, at the end of the day, this is the right thing to do for Israel and for America.
And at the same time, we see the protests. We have the bug right in the corner. The viewers can see it in the corner in front of the White House. You know, when you hear from the river to the sea, when you see the chants, and I've heard them, to kill more Jews. I actually heard that in one of the protests here in New York City. And they talk about free Palestine. Palestine is occupied by Hamas, the terrorists of Hamas. Why is Israel always blamed? There have been horrible mistakes. There have been tragedies, of course, in the civilian population of Gaza. But why is the Jewish state always blamed? And why don't they say and understand that this can end now if Hamas just gives up?
If Hamas returns the hostages and if their leaders come out, they'll save a lot of human lives in Gaza, and they'll save us the trouble of going in and getting them. I don't think that they will, because their priorities are never the civilian population, not on the Palestinian side and not on the Israeli side. And, you know, answering the question, which I think is a very correct question, I don't have an answer. I could speak about anti-Semitism, I could speak about woke and different, anti-Western, anti-American sentiment. What I think is really important for law enforcement and for local governments around the world to be doing is to uphold law and order and to defend and make sure that law-abiding citizens, Jewish citizens of America, of Canada, of Western Europe, feel safe in their home country. And they don't feel safe. They feel threatened because anti-American anarchists are taking over the streets, and they are doing on American streets whatever they feel and think that they are entitled to do, many times violating laws. And I think that is very bad, has to change, because it starts with the Jews. We've seen that in history. It starts many times with the Jews, but it doesn't end with the Jews. And when you have all kinds of bad anti-democratic activities, first targets may be the Jews, but they are not the last ones. So I think it is an American interest, it's a European interest to uphold law and order, to protect law-abiding civilians, and to make sure that the public domain is safe.
Those who are ignorant of history are condemned to repeat it. We saw it happen in the 1930s.
We did indeed.
And we lived through this in the 40s, of course. Jonathan Conricus, thank you. And
thank you for having me.
Thank you for your service to your country.